Hello everyone, it's Nick here with Nick's Hardrock CD album review. I've changed things up, I'm actually showing myself now. But the band we're going to look at today is Cinderella, their 1994 album. It's called Still Climbing, and this is their fourth album. Yeah, as I said, released in November 1994. I'll just read out the song tracks while we got them. We've got Bad Attitude Shuffle, All Comes Down, Talk is Cheap, Hard to Find the Words, Blood from a Stone, Still Climbing, Freewheelin', Through the Rain, Easy Come Easy Go, The Road's Still Long, and Hot and Bothered. I've actually got a picture of the band. This was from one of their previous albums, and if I can, yep, there we've got Eric Brittingham, the bass player. There is Tom Kiefer, lead vocals and guitar. Let's see, yep, there is Fred Coury, the drummer. And there is Jeff LaBar, the guitarist. Now I should actually point out that Fred Coury didn't actually play the drums on this album that I'm reviewing. I don't know why, I don't know whether he left the band or what, but he didn't play on this album. He played on all the other Cinderella albums, but there's this other drummer, this session drummer called Kenny Aranoff, or I think it's Aranoff, and he's played with heaps of hard rock musicians, even hard rock bands. He's very well known, and I do know for a fact that he actually played on John Bon Jovi's solo album back in 1990, the Blaze of Glory album. I know he did play drums on that. I used to have that album too, Blaze of Glory, but we're not talking about John Bon Jovi. Yeah, so Cinderella's album. Now, they only released one single off this album, and that was Bad Attitude Shuffle. And it didn't do anything. This album, unfortunately, it charted number at 178 on the charts. Now that's not good at all. But in Cinderella's defence, this album was released in 1994, so we had Pearl Jam, and I know I keep repeating myself about this, but Pearl Jam, Nirvana, Soundgarden, all the grunge scene was huge. 1994 was just massive for that kind of music. So unfortunately, Cinderella didn't have a hope, really, which is unfortunate because I love these guys, and this album still follows on from the other two Cinderella albums. It's got a real hard rock, bluesy, sort of a bluesy type feel to the songs, and it works so well. It's that they haven't lost. That they really haven't lost their gift of playing, hard rock, bluesy music. Now the reason why, actually, Tom Kiefer, the lead singer there, he actually lost his voice back in 1991. I think he had to have some kind of throat surgery, or something to repair his voice box, but he actually lost his voice. So there was a good 4 years in between this album and their previous album. So now there's actually one of the songs called Hot and Bothered off this album featured on the hit movie Wayne's World. Now Wayne's World was a comedy movie, and it featured Mike Myers. It was released back in 1991, 1992, that film Wayne's World, but Hot and Bothered off this album, that was one of the singles that was one of the songs on the soundtrack. And there's also two other songs on this album, Freewheeling and Talk is Cheap. And these songs were actually done back in the mid-80s, but they didn't really do anything with the songs back then, so they've obviously re-recorded them and put them onto this album. So yeah, two songs which date back to the very mid-80s. And just before, when I mentioned the drummer Fred Coury, that one there who didn't play on this album, he did play on the song Hot and Bothered. So there we go. Now, as I said, it's quite a while ago. I did a video on Cinderella, and Cinderella started off as a sort of hard rock glam band. Then they changed their sound to a more hard rock bluesy sound, and as I said, it just worked so well for them, and it paid off for them. They had multi-platinum albums. Now this album was not multi-platinum, as I said. It featured 178 on the charts, which is pretty dismal. But circumstances in regards to the change of music scene, that wasn't Cinderella's fault. So, but these guys have still got it, and I love Tom. I've said this before. I love Tom Kiefer's voice. It's got that raspy, really southern, really southern drawl to his voice and his sound, and just works so well with this bluesy hard rock. It's just great, and thank God he didn't lose his voice permanently. And he's back on this album with an absolute vengeance. His voice sounds fantastic. Sounds like it never changed really. If you like your old Cinderella, the previous two albums, Heartbreak Station and Long Cold Winter, was this album, then things haven't changed. This is the same type of sound. I'd have to say that my favourite tracks off this album would have to be Bad Attitude Shuffle, All Comes Down, Talk Is Cheap. They've just got a really good vibe to it, just a really good hard rocking vibe. What more can you say for Cinderella? Now, there's a really nice song called Hard to Find the Words, and it's a slow ballad type song. And that song was actually written about Tom Kiefer, lead singer there, his mother who passed away. So it's a really nice song, and it's dedicated to her, obviously. And it's a song basically thanking her for making him, the man he is today. And it's a really nice song. So Hard to Find the Words. That's a great song. Still Climbing, another favourite, and The Road's Still Long. That's another favourite of mine. The thing about Cinderella is they were extremely good musicians, and especially Tom Kiefer. Here's another picture of the band there. Especially Tom Kiefer, the lead singer and guitarist. He is a great songwriter, and I don't think he really got the appreciation that he deserved. And as I said, his voice just fits Cinderella's music so well. That's their second album, which I will review at a later stage, but I've just shown you some photos. So unfortunately Cinderella aren't around anymore. They've called it quits. I do know that Tom Kiefer, he does do solo work now. He's a solo singer. The rest of the band, I don't really know, to be honest. I don't know what they're doing. But unfortunate, because Cinderella were a rocking band, and they had major success, massive success back in the early to late 80s. But thank God I've still got their whole catalogue of albums. So in regards to this album, Still Climbing, I would actually give this an 8 out of 10. It's good stuff. It's that they, as I said, they haven't lost their knack even after all this time. Well, this was released in 1994, but they still know how to play music, these guys, so I've always been a big fan of Cinderella and always will be. So 8 out of 10 for Cinderella's fourth album, Still Climbing, and so I hope everyone's doing well and staying safe and keep positive. And until next time, I can tell you right now, I'll be doing the next review I'll do is I'll do Bang Tango. That's the next album review. Bang Tango. So yeah, Cinderella. So until then, thank you very much for watching and stay safe, look after each other, and keep on rocking. Bye bye.